Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? on the chat. And it will be available for replay on the SBEP website. We shall speak during the presentations. You can't ask questions aloud during the presentation, but we do invite you to write your questions on the chat. There will be a Q&A session at the end where you'll be able to ask your questions aloud. And yeah, that covers it for the instructions. This presentation will last about 30-45 minutes and will extend longer if there are a lot of questions. So what we're going to talk about today, first we'll welcome you to the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership, quickly go over what this partnership is, the aim of the partnership, the timeline, and then we'll go more into depth about the Thematic Portfolio Call for Interest. So what is a thematic portfolio? What is a call for interest? Claire, our colleague, will present the topics of the thematic portfolios. There will be 2 portfolios with 2 distinct thematics. We'll go over the call process, the eligibility rules, the selection procedure, and the evaluation criteria. This is a very important section. And then we'll talk to you about how you can actually apply to this call. And then we'll talk to you about the next steps. And I leave Sylvain to present to you the partnership.
Yes, thank you very much, Beverly. So I will present briefly the partnership Sustainable Blue Economy. I don't know if some of you are already aware of this partnership, which is an initiative from the program Horizon Europe from the European Commission. And the partnership SBEP is part of the cluster 6, which is related to environmental topics, so food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, and environment. So the SBEP started in 2022 and will last for 7 years until 2029. So I will go counterclockwise on this circle. We are currently in the cycle 2 of SBEP. In 2025. So we are 74 partners from 30 countries, and we are supported by the European Commission. The focus is on the European sea-basins, so the Mediterranean Sea, Black Sea, Baltic, the North Sea, and the Atlantic Ocean. This partnership is coordinated by the Ministry of University and Research of Italy, and co-coordinated by the Resource Council of Norway. So very quickly, a few figures. For 450 million euros were planned investments for the whole duration of the partnership over the 7 years. We are launching 6 co-funded calls for research proposals. So the 3rd joint transnational calls was launched on Monday this week, on the 15th of September. So it was announced on the social media on Monday. So this is another call. We won't talk about this one today, but this is the annual joint transnational call of SBEP. And the focus is on 5 topics, 5 intervention areas that I will present in the next slide. Very briefly, the aim of the partnership, the long-term objective is to contribute to the transformation towards the climate neutral, sustainable, productive, and competitive blue economy, and to contribute to the restoration of oceans' health, resilience, and services to people by enabling economic activity that is climate neutral, sustainable, and productive. The 5 intervention areas of the partnership, from our strategic research and innovation agenda that we also invite you to consult. So planning and managing CUCs at regional level, the blue economy sectors, so development of marine multi-use infrastructures, the blue bioresources, and you will see that the thematic of the portfolios fall in this intervention area, blue bioresources, but also digital twins of the ocean at regional subsea basin scales, and finally the resilient coastal communities and businesses. And two excerpts from the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda of SBEP. So related to the objective of SBEP, SBEP will design, steer, and support a just and inclusive transition to regenerative and circular blue economy. And SBEP aims to boost the transformations towards a climate neutral, sustainable, productive, and competitive blue economy by 2030, while also creating and supporting the conditions for healthy oceans for the people by 2050. And that was all for the presentation of the partnership. And I will give the floor to my colleague Beverly for the presentation of this initiative of the thematic portfolios.
Thank you. So the goal of the thematic portfolios is to create and boost networking between activities and ongoing projects that are funded. These projects that are funded by a range of instruments, those being national, regional, or funded from the EU, on topics covered by the intervention area, blue bioresources, as Sylvain just said. So in particular, we have two topics that were defined by our Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, which we'll go more into detail about. So these are the two topics of our thematic portfolios. These portfolios contribute to leveraging the project's impact at the European level by providing efficient scientific support for strategic and political decision-making, while also addressing research gaps and avoiding duplication, which is a very important thing to have in mind in this day and age, with all our projects being financed by a range of these funding streams. The expected outputs of these thematic portfolios will be to connect ongoing projects. These projects will define their own roadmap of activities during the duration of the thematic portfolios, and they are expected to increase transnational synergies at the EU scale, and of course boost the quadruple helix multi-stakeholders collaboration. This is a very important point, so I'm going more into depth about it during the eligibility criteria at the end. So how are these thematic portfolios put into place? Now what we're going through is the call for interest. So this call for interest, the aim of it is to establish two thematic portfolios. The projects will collaborate together during a 2-year period, thanks to the call for interest. There will be meetings between the projects in these thematic portfolios. The meetings will be held twice a year. There will be one meeting, a physical meeting at the beginning of the portfolio of projects, and a physical meeting at the end of the portfolio of projects. All of these meetings, which will be held twice a year online, and the 2 meetings in person, are here to create strong links and ensure effective coordination between ongoing projects. These meetings will be supported by the portfolio secretariat, so Sylvain and me, and also by the portfolio board, which we'll go more into depth about in just a bit. At the end of these 2-year collaborations, a comprehensive final report will be asked of the projects. This report aims to summarize the key outcomes, findings, and recommendations arising from the collaborative activities. And this final report will be distributed to stakeholders, representatives of various EC directorates general, and national authorities and regional bodies. So just to point out what is really important here, the goal of the thematic portfolios is networking, boosting synergies, and leveraging projects' impact. So just keep that. That's the main thing to take away from this. We have a few secondary goals. First goal, networking. We have a few secondary goals. It's to share and collaborate on data. We have activities like communities of practice, comparative analysis and syntheses, There will be joint outputs between the projects in each portfolio. There will be knowledge transfer, policy dialogues and recommendations, and training and awareness. There are a few benefits to joining the thematic portfolios, which I'll list right here. Firstly, the increased visibility at the international level, the networking with quadruple helix stakeholders, career boost, especially for early career scientists, identification of new opportunities for cooperation, identification of potential beneficiaries of the project outputs, co-design market uptake plans, meetings with the EU Commission experts, and participation to the SBEP events. For example, we have a symposium that will be coming up in February, and all the events planned around the thematic portfolios will be planned around the SBEP events back to back. So the participants in the thematic portfolios will have access to these SBEP events. Now for the governance. As I said, there is firstly a portfolio secretariat, which is led by the ANR, so Sylvain and myself. So if you have any questions during the whole process, please don't hesitate to contact us, to contact this email address. And there's another email address at the end of the presentation, and we will do our best to answer you quickly. There is the portfolio board. So this board is constituted of funding agencies that will select the projects to be part of the thematic portfolios, and that will support the thematic portfolios during the whole duration of the initiative. We also have some EC observers during in this board. There is also the chairperson of the portfolio of projects. We'll get more into that lately, and it is detailed in the call text that will represent the portfolios of projects, and that will collaborate with the secretariat and the portfolio board. So now I leave the floor to Claire, who will present to you the topics of our thematic portfolios and more of the scientific side of this initiative. So the floor is yours, Claire.
Yes, thank you, Beverly, and thank you, Sylvain. So I will give you a short presentation of the topics. So two main topics have been selected for this portfolio. So the first one is based on innovation for responsible fisheries. And the main topic is linked to innovation and digitalisation of low-impact, sustainable small-scale fisheries management in EU sea basins. So this objective is to support the sustainable management, the transitioning and the empowerment of small-scale fisheries through industry co-development of innovative fishing techniques, new technological and digital tools, novel resources and new practices. So the research and innovation activities that will be covered, so will be divided in three subtopics. The first one is the reduction of environmental impact of small-scale fisheries. The second one is the sustainable management of small-scale fisheries, considering the impact and societal cost of stressors such as habitat degradation, pollution, and climate change. And the third one is linked to the economic sustainability of small-scale fisheries. On the next slide, if you can change Beverly or Sylvain, or I don't know if I can change myself. Okay, so now we will have two slides, or back again, sorry, with more details about the scientific content of each subtopic. So for the first one, which is the reduction of environmental impact and small-scale fisheries, we have, for example, the pollution reduction from fishing activities. And for example, so here we have listed some keywords. I will not read everything because we will send you the presentation and you will have time to read. But one important aspect is the development of innovative fishing gear using, for example, biodegradable materials to avoid pollution from lost fishing gears, for example, to have trial, again, to avoid losing fishing gears that can lead to many pollution. And of course, a very important point is to avoid, for example, the onboard plastic and to use a promotion of waste collection and recycling. So this is a very important topic to reduce associate pollution, to reduce the pollution associated with fishing gear. Another aspect will be to work on the development of digital tools for data collection and real-time monitoring, for example, to improve the fishing effort, to have more information about stock and catch data, and to avoid that boat enter restricting zone. So this will help to reduce the carbon footprint of the fishing industry, which is a very important topic in Europe at the moment. The third subtopic will be to work on the development of artificial intelligence and sensor technology to improve surveillance monitoring system and decision making. So this is I've been selected under the title Pollution Reduction from Fishing Activities. The second subtopic will be based on the reduction of bycatch. And for example, we have listed here the development of selecting fishing gear for incorporating appropriate mesh size and to make sure that the juvenile can escape and that we don't catch protected species. So this will help to the impact on a non-target species. If you want to change slide, Beverly. So the second subtopic is based on the sustainable management of small-scale fisheries, considering the impact on societal cost of stressors such as habitat degradation, pollution, climate change. And here what we want to give priority to is to the development of digital monitoring tool for responsive informed management in the face of multiple stressors, and as well to work on the diversification of target species to reduce pressure on overexploited population. And again, it will contribute significantly to the protection of the marine environment. And finally, the third subtopic is dedicated to economic sustainability of small-scale fisheries. And here, the main goal is the understanding of species' role in trophic webs and their growth potential within frameworks of biodiversity resilience and sustainability, practical management tools aligned with stakeholder needs. And what we are looking for as well is to have projects working on the analysis of socio-economic driver of change in commercial fisheries in order to guide small-scale fisheries, economic and regional development strategies. And the next slide, please. And so the first topic about sustainable fisheries, and the second topic is dedicated to innovation for carbon neutrality in aquaculture. And here the objective is to address challenges and opportunities associated with further development and expansion of marine algal production for low impact, productive and circular marine bioeconomy. For research and innovation activities, so we have selected 5 subtopics. The first one is about strain development and genetic engineering. The second one is about circular, sustainable and low impact algae cultivation systems, both for phytoplankton species and microalgae. The third one is about biorefinery and valorization of algal biomass. The fourth one about synthetic biology and artificial intelligence integration. And the fifth one about economy, policy, and social research. So next one, please. So here again, as for the other topic, we have put some example about which type of project and research we are looking for. So about strain development and genetic engineering. So we will address two types of biomass, microalgae, so phytoplanktonic species, and macroalgae, so large seaweed. So for the first type of organism, we are looking at projects that investigate genome editing, for example, by CRISPR and Cas for higher production of specific compound, for example, to have higher yield of lipid or protein, for example. We will look at projects that examine enhanced resistance to environmental stress, for example, linking with climate change. And an important topic as well is the improvement of photosynthetic efficiency to reach higher, to be able to produce faster biomass. About seaweed, we will look for projects that develop selective breeding for faster growth, disease resistance, or specific biochemical trait, for example, to be able to have high yield of specific enzyme, or projects that conduct genome sequencing and transcriptomics of key commercial species. So next slide, please. So the second subtopic is dedicated to a sustainable, circular, and low-impact algae cultivation system. And for example, we will look for projects that work on the development of innovative offshore and low-trophic aquaculture, so LTA, and integrated multi-trophic aquaculture, so IMTA, that is developed now in many of the sea-basins in Europe. We are very interested for projects that propose novel photobioreactor and open pond optimization for microalgae. Of course, some projects that work to include circularity in cultivation system for sustainable nutrient sourcing and recycling, because it avoids eutrophication of coastal water, which is very important for the water framework. And of course, we will be looking for projects that develop sustainable and cost-efficient cultivation system, for example, by reducing energy utilization. So next, please. So the third subtopic is dedicated to biorefinery and valorization of algal biomass. So here, we will look for projects that offer new methods for processing harvested seaweed, and we will look for projects that develop green chemistry approaches. So it means to have circular economy models and low waste valorization chains. For the fourth subtopic, so it's about synthetic biology and artificial intelligence integration. So here we will look for projects that promote the use of AI and machine learning for optimization of growth condition, for example, for predictive modeling of biomass composition, and for automating harvesting and processing. So here it's mainly dedicated to microalgae. And of course, synthetic biology is a very useful tool for novel compound production or cell factory design. And finally, the fifth topic will be about economic policy and societal research. So here we will look for projects that conduct market uptake business model analysis for new algae-based products. Projects that perform a life cycle assessment to specify environmental impact categories relevant to marine cultivation, for example. And we will look for projects that include public perception, social and consumer acceptance of new algae products in different markets. It can be feed, biomaterial, cosmetics, or other possible application. And here it was all about the details that we have listed about key topics that we will use for a selected project. So next slide, and I think the floor is back to you.
Thank you very much, Claire. I will continue with the call for interest process. the eligibility rules, and the selection procedure and evaluation criteria for this call. So we invite you to fulfill the following eligibility criteria for your project. So the project will not be accepted without the compliance to this eligibility criteria that will be reviewed by the portfolio boards. So first is the scope of the project's R&I activities. So the projects must fall in the scope of at least one of the subthematic of the two proposed topics that Claire just presented. The source of funding, the projects must be recipients of either national, regional, or European grants. The duration of the project must be active and ongoing during the period of the thematic portfolio activities. So from January of next year, 2026, so to early 2028. The geographical scope of the project must address at least one geographical area among the 5 sea basins of the partnership, so the Mediterranean Sea, the Black Sea, the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, or the Atlantic Ocean. And if applicable, the project must indicate regional areas also, such as the Arctic Ocean, the Barents Sea, the Celtic Sea, the Adriatic Sea, the Aegean Sea, and so on. So the scope of your projects must be proved to be relevant for one or more of these geographical areas. Another eligibility criterion is the commitment and the availability capacity to engage in this initiative. So the applicants, so it can be the principal investigator of your project or another consortium member, who is designated as an alternate. So you must prove the ability to allocate the necessary resources, so in time, to participate in the portfolio activities as a self-funded member. So as we mentioned, this will include 2 on-site meetings. So the kickoff that will be back-to-back to the symposium of the partnership early 2026, and the final meeting. And the other meetings will be online. And finally, regarding the principal investigator or its alternate, the investigator must be employed by an organization belonging to one of the countries of the partnership. So I mentioned the 30 countries involved in SBEP. So you have to be part of this country. And we also mentioned the quadruple helix. The representatives of the project must belong to the 4 sectors of the quadruple helix. So that's all for the eligibility criteria in order to submit. I will continue with the thematic portfolio timeline. So the call for expressions of interest was launched on the 31st of July, and it will remain open until the 30th of October next month, which is the submission deadline. The portfolio board will meet in November to assess the list of projects for the 2 portfolios and select the projects. So based on the gender geographical balance, the stakeholders involved in the project, and the source of funding, either from the SBEP partnership, regional, national, or other European financial stream. And following this eligibility and selection step by the board, you will receive your invitation to belong to the portfolio in December. The kickoff meeting will be organized in February. It will be in Bucharest, so back to back with the SBEP symposium, also in Romania. And then, so this will launch officially the portfolio, the 2 portfolios for the 2 years of activities, with online meetings and the final meeting, probably early 2028, back to back with another SBEP event. So Beverly will continue with this final information.
Yeah, so now we're going to talk about how you can actually apply to the thematic portfolios. The PI of the project or the alternate, if you designate an alternate to represent the project, is required to fill out an application. So this is an Excel file, and then send us this application, so the Excel file, to the email address on the presentation right here. What does this Excel file have? It's basically administrative details and a brief introduction to the project, the interest to join, and your eligibility to the criteria that Sylvain has just explained. So you will have multiple tabs in this Excel, and you have to fill them out as accordingly. This Excel file must be sent back to us with the letter of intent, must be sent back to us before October 30th. You must download this document from the link that is given on the SBEP website. The link is also on this presentation, just on the next slide. Yeah, that's how you have to apply. To download this document, you will go to a specific page and then you have to enter the password that is written here on the sentence. Please download the application form using the link and password with the password. So you just copy paste this password and then you will have access to these documents. Yeah, so here we have the link to download the application form. And in this application form, so as I said, there are multiple tabs. This is just a recap of the tabs they are. So firstly, there is a first tab about the portfolio. So you have to select which portfolio you wish to apply to, information of the PI or information of the alternate. So either you fill out the information of the PI or either you fill out the information of the alternate. And then you have the eligibility criteria and how you adhere to this eligibility criteria. So it's pretty straightforward. You send us back this Excel. If you have any questions whatsoever, or if you have any problems filling out this Excel file, please don't hesitate to contact us and we will help you. We will guide you along the way. And yeah, so if you have any questions, I saw we had a few in the chat.
We have 2 questions, one by Job and Indira. So we can read it, but you can also unmute yourself and simply ask your question directly.
Okay, so Job Mine says, could you please explain the source of the funding a bit better? There needs to be already external funding. Yes, so there are 2 on-site meetings, one in February and then one in 2028. In the thematic portfolios, we do have a bit of funding that will be allocated to the projects, but based on how many projects we have in the portfolios and the activities decided upon, this funding will be allocated accordingly. But when you submit your application, you need to prove you need to have proof that you can be there physically to the first meeting, the kickoff, and to the final meeting. If that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, brilliant.
Thank you, Joe.
What are the other questions? Should the funding source be on the same topic? I mean, blue economy or related? So you mean the funding of your projects by the funding streams? The source of funding on your project does not have to be related to blue economy. It can be on different subjects. However, the research you are conducting has to be linked to the blue economy sector, blue bioresources, and the topics presented to you by Claire. You have to answer to one of these topics and subtopics. How can we demonstrate to have funding available to participate in the meetings? This is quite free. It's up to you. You can have a letter of intent from your organization. We've kept this quite open, so it is easy for everyone to prove this. But yeah, it can be a letter of intent, for example. There are no other questions? Okay. If you have any questions, you can just turn on your microphone as well, if need.
How can we find collaborative partners to establish?
So you don't need to create a consortium. These are for the thematic portfolios are for ongoing projects. So these are projects that have already been funded by national, regional, or EU streams. You are already an active and ongoing project with already a consortium. You're the PI of this project, of your project, or an alternate representative that you choose, somebody that represents your projects, will apply to the thematic portfolios, and then we, as the thematic portfolio secretariat and board, will then connect you with the other projects that have applied. And then a network will be created around two thematics, so the fisheries and the aquaculture. But you don't need to create a consortium. You're already an ongoing project. This initiative is a networking initiative to boost synergies and to leverage impact. There are no more questions. If you do have any questions along the way, don't hesitate to email us and we'll answer you, whether that be on the scientific content or on the more administrative side.
There's another question by Cornelia. Can you walk us through the link to apply? I can't find an Excel files, but files to transfer and contact info.
Okay, so on the, let me go back a few slides. So how do you apply? There is a link on this website which says, please download the application form using this link. This will send you to a page where you have to enter a password. You then enter this password and you will be able to download the documents. If it doesn't work, please let us know. Can you
It will work.
Also, in after this meeting, we will set this presentation will be available online. We will also send this to you via your email address after this meeting, and we can put the link in the email address as well, just for easier reasons.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. We are checking on the web page. If it's not working, we will correct this just after the meeting, so that you can download the Excel file easily.
Yes, it works now, so it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we'll be ending soon. Just for your information, there will be another webinar, but this time the webinar will be exclusively for the Sustainable Blue Economy Partnership funded projects. If there are any coordinators of these projects listening today, this meeting will be on the 8th. No, it won't be. This meeting will be on the
7th of October.
Yeah, the 7th, sorry, the 7th of October at 2 o'clock. And we'll be sending you a link directly to your emails. Okay.
So thank you very much for your participation. And
Thank you.
And don't hesitate to contact us to the Thematic Portfolio email address for any question you may have.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Claire. Thank you,
Thank
Sylvain.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bah, vous avez besoin de moi ou sinon je vous laisse parce que j'ai un autre
Non,
meeting après.
Tu peux nous laisser, Claire. Merci.
Merci
Ok,
beaucoup.
à bientôt.
À bientôt.